Hey, welcome. It's Captain Matt, Boater Secret Weapon. I want to thank you for joining us for this Sunday night live. We're getting ready to start here in just a couple of minutes here. We'll start about 8:30, but I wanted to welcome you. If you've never been to a live, here's what you can expect. Just go ahead and chat in your comment section, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube. Just ask your question, leave your comment there, and then as we go through the time, I just kind of scroll down all the comments and I try to answer them. Now, if it's something that I need to ask you a question, I may ask you a question and just put it in the chat again, and I'll come back and I'll get that information so I can give you a more personalized response, something that's going to really add value for you. This is just something I do. One, it's great fun. I really enjoy it. It's helpful for the community, just sharing my knowledge. Now, one thing that you need to know, I don't know everything about boats. I know a lot about boats. I've been a boater since I was 5. I've sold boats. It's something that is a big part of my life. With that said, I don't know everything. Matter of fact, sailboats, have zero experience with sailboats. Bass boats, very little experience there. Bow riders, deck boats, center consoles, jet boats, twin engines, stern drives, outboards, inboards, all of that I have experience with. And if I have an answer, I'll give you my best answer. If I don't have an answer, I'll try to give you a resource that will be valuable for you. If I have an opinion, I'll try to give you that opinion, but let you know this is what I think, not what I absolutely know. So I look forward to it. Here's a little video intro that a subscriber made for me. Thanks, Bo. And we'll see you on the live when it kicks off here in just a moment. Welcome, everybody. Captain Matt, Boater Secret Weapon, here with you for our Sunday live. Our first special guest would like to say hello. This is my youngest one. They were off school on Friday and again tomorrow, so she wanted to know if she could be on the whole live. I told her no, but she did want to make a special appearance, and she's got toothpaste all over her face. We just had some Chinese, some sushi, and it was a good time. You want to say anything?
I'm tired.
All right. She had a sleepover last.
I'm going to bed.
Yes, she had a sleepover last night. Stayed up late, got up early. Shut the door, please. And but she's off for school, so she insists on not going to bed. So we'll see how that goes. Welcome, everybody. I saw when I was checking things out, and I saw that that Jerry was he said first at 3:30 this afternoon. I'm not sure if that counts or not, Jerry. We'll see. We'll see what Saint and Ray, what Bo and Ray have to say about that. Bo, welcome. Ray, welcome. Yeah, Ray, it's second or third. We have to go to the judges on that. Sustainability, good to have you. Brandon, just want to say thank you for all your videos and info. Going tomorrow to get our first pontoon boat. That's awesome. Congratulations, Brandon. That is fantastic. Would love to hear about what you're getting. If you want to share that with anybody or any questions you may have, just throw it in the chat. But love it when I get comments like that, emails like that. If anyone here is religious, be praying for me. Putting my MMI degree to use and applied to boat dealer in Seattle, Silver Seas Yachts. Hey, congratulations, Bo. That's awesome. That is fantastic. And good luck with everything in there. And hey, just sometimes just walking right into them and saying, hey, tell them your experience, that you're deep into the boating lifestyle and the boating world, been learning everything you can. That can go a long way. But I know there's a lot of solid dealers up in Seattle, and I'm sure one would be happy to snatch you up. So good luck with that. Any of you know about those pier thrusters that keep the silt away from your boat lift or pier? We don't have to use them at our place in Lake of the Ozarks, but I've seen things similar. I don't know if I know anybody that's using them. Let's see, who do I know up in that area that is on a river or some of the lakes in the Midwest where they'll fill in. Let me think about that sustainability. Nobody jumps to my head right away. Oh, hey, you inspired me at the Charlotte Boat Show to a shore station lift guy that's also a dock builder. So I got it set up with him that he is going to take me around and he's going to show me up on High Rock Lake, which is where he's out of. He does Lake Wylie, Lake Norman. He does lakes around here as well. But he's like, I've got so many docks with that shore station list set up with the platform and the drop cover. If you've seen it, they don't sell the touchless cover, but it's the same concept. It's the whole canopy. It's like a little box top that just drops over your boat. And he's like, come out with us. I'll show you everything. I'll answer any questions for you, and we can do a little interview. So that's strictly because of your question on the live a couple weeks ago that I even had that concept. I've seen that booth at every boat show I've gone to. He's been in the same spot. And I was like, I need to talk to you about this. He was super excited about it. So thank you, Sustainability, for that idea. Jason D, he did it. Congratulations, Jason. He's picking up his SSI tomorrow. I talked to him at the boat show here in Charlotte. And if you remember, he was on asking about the difference between the SSI, the SSX, and the SSI and the H2O, and Chaparral versus others. And he's buying from a great dealer here in the area that I know will give you a great experience. And hopefully, we talked a little bit about negotiating at the show, a few techniques specifically to use at the show, and hopefully, I know they had their market pricing on that, but hopefully they will, or they did come down a little bit for you, or at least throw in something. Question about covers: waterproof versus weather resistant. Looking to double up, snap in bow, cockpit cover, then over the tower. Cover over top fall. Yes. I like that setup. Make sure you put your dry rid in there when you're putting it up for the season. If you're going to let it sit for long periods of time, that because you're really limiting the airflow. But if you got your dry rid, you put it away dry, you put it away clean, you'll be in good shape. What I recommend doing, and this is for everybody, is anybody that stores their boat outside in the elements during the season or off season, over time, the water repellency of that canvas, even the best canvas, the Sunbrella, which I think is the best, loses its water repellency, right? So you'll want to get it happened to me on I didn't realize it. My first convertible, the only convertible I owned before I had kids, I had to get rid of it when car seats got into the equation. But I had a convertible sports car, and I had no idea. Nobody ever told me this, but over time, the water repellency for my top went away. So my girlfriend, now my wife, one of the first dates we were on, poured down rain, and it was dripping on us. We had to get pizza boxes over our head. We ran it back into the restaurant, got pizza boxes to put over our head. And I was like, what is going on? And then I realized, oh, that water repellency goes away after you wash it and after, just over time. So every 3 years or so, go get some of the 303 fabric protector waterproof spray. I think 303 is the best. There's others that do it. They're probably not too much different, but I had great experience with 303. So just make sure you do that every several years. Clean it up real good, and then you spray that on, just let it dry, and it now beads the water again. So, and for any of you guys that have canvas that use it to keep the elements out, not just to keep the dust off if you store it inside, but retreat that. You can do the same thing for your bimini tops. Any canvas it's gonna wear out over time, and just keep it treated so you don't get too far gone. 211, congratulations yet. Is the boat on the way? Have you heard anything? I think you might have another couple weeks left, if I remember right, on his C Pro, I think is what it was. Corey, good to have you. Welcome. Ray, there's a boat repair place in Weebly Island. Ask for. Oh, awesome. Ray, that is awesome. Thank you for sharing that with Bo, and love this community. A bunch of great people together. Tom, good to have you. Good evening, Captain. week 5 on boat order. Deal is confirmed. 6 to 7 weeks delivery time. Okay. All right. So I jumped ahead a little bit. I'm more anxious than, there's no way I'm more anxious than you are. That is awesome. What's your go-to knot when boating? So I pretty much use the bowline or the cleat hitch. Those are really the 2 knots that I use for almost everything. I'll use a half hitch if I'm just hanging a fender temporary, and maybe 2 half hitches to lock it in a little bit better. If I'm just tying something off a rail, a fender that's hanging down. But those are almost everywhere I go. There is a cleat that I can just cleat hitch to, or a piling or something like that I can just whip around, and either what I like to do is just do 2 turns around the piling or the post or whatever it is, and then cleat hitch back on the boat. That's what I prefer to do most often. If it's a really nasty piling that's going to chafe up my rope, chafe up my line too much. And what I'll do is I'll do a bowline around it and lock it that way. Really, those are the ones that I use. And then, like I said, the half hitch is something I use. The 2 round turns and a half hitch is another good one if you're just somewhere temporary. But I can do a bowline pretty quick, so I oftentimes will just do that. And it's keeps you sharp on doing them. So if you're in a difficult situation, you can get it. And the hardest thing with the bowline in those situations for me is getting the length right. So you come around, you do your thing, and then you lock it. Is sometimes, if I'm not paying attention, I have too much slack in it, and it's not in the spot where it needs to be. Sometimes the 2 round turns and a half hitch or 2 half hitches is quicker. But those really, and they're Tom, those are the 3 I teach in Boater Boot Camp. It's those 3 knots will get you through 99% of your boating life, if not 100% for most people on this. The only one I didn't include there that maybe I should have is tying up to a ring, which is not common at all in my area. It's much more common, I think, up in the Northeast, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and some of the lakes up that way. But again, you can run it through, come back to your boat, cleat hitch off the boat, or you can tie a bowline off that. You can also do I say half hitch, but you really need to do 2 half hitches to make that work, and stay. And sometimes that can slide too tight on the ring. But that's the only one that really might call for a different one. And frankly, if I'm tying up temporarily, just for an hour or so on that setting, I'm probably just gonna do I guess it would be a hitch, a double hitch to just lock it on there. That would be my probably what I would do in that situation. What sucks is Lake Cumberland is full of logs from the water level going up from the recent rain. Yeah, hey, if you're a river boater, or if you're on a lake that is a dammed up river and the water comes and washes all the crap, you just got to be real careful. 211, one of the things to just pay attention to, this is really for anybody on your waterway, pay attention when there's debris in the water. Pay attention to where it naturally collects. Okay. It's going to depend on the wind, and it's going to depend on the current. Those are the 2 things that are going to move it from one spot to another. The wind is oftentimes going to be from the same direction. So you can just know, like on Lake Loudon, where we go on Lake Loudon with my in-laws, I know there's a little cut that goes from Lake Loudon, which is technically a river, right by the locks, right by the dam. There's a little cut through that goes to what's called Tellico Lake. So Tellico Lake is where Sea Rays, Mastercrafts, bunch of boat Bryants are built up on that lake. But right there's 2 spots where debris collects, and they get big logs on this lake. So there's a little cove. If you go left, it will go through the cut. If you go right, there's a pretty good sized cove, which is awesome for doing water sports. It's out of the way. Most people are going to somewhere. So it's pretty well protected and pretty calm most of the time. But there's a spot right there where, because the current from the river, because of the cut, because where the wind comes in, there's a big spot where that debris collects. If it's coming from the other way, it collects a little bit further, a little closer to the cut than it does to that cove. And so if you know this, you know where the debris collects, you know to really watch out for it. Now, there could be a log that's just floating right down the main channel and it hasn't got to that collection point. So you're always on constant lookout scanning, and keeping your speed down. Give yourself a little bit more time to react. And unfortunately, sometimes the log gets partially submerged and they can be really difficult to see. So you just got to be cautious and be real cautious with that new Sea Pro. What are my goals in life? Inspire. Thanks for keeping me posted. Yes, I will. That when that video comes out, I will. I'll let you know on the live, because I think it's. I think those are pretty slick, and that's what the guy told me. He said, you know what? We actually use those almost exactly the question that you asked in a lot of the lakes down here in the Carolinas and a lot of lakes all over the country. Really, is there's a square footage limit that you have to your dock. And on some of them, they don't count anything cut out for the slip. So he said what they do is, to give them a little bit more usable space, is they'll make the slip a little extra wide, and then they'll do the lift and they'll put that platform on so that, they might get a couple extra feet on each side of the boat, or when the boat's off it and out, then they've got a huge platform so they can, if they need, are having a bunch of people over, they can tie the boat off to the side. And now they've got this huge usable area. And the pictures he was showing me is there was just a tiny gap in there that, even the smallest foot likely isn't going to get caught in there. Bayliner laughed. Bayliner laughed. Bayliner launched a new boat this year, Element M19. Finally, an M series element that can be used for water sports. M19 Bayliner. So that is the deck boat, the Bayliner deck boat. Overall length, except cookies. This is the European version. Do they have it in the US, I wonder? Bayliner Element. There we go. Okay. Yeah. So that's interesting. They launched it to their European dealers a year earlier. That's very interesting. So 19-foot, 7.6 beam. That's fairly narrow for a 19-foot boat. Usually you'll see 8.5 on a 19-footer with the 115. Yeah, that's some interesting lines. I like it. Little low profile windshield. Keep that investment down without having that full windshield. Still get you some protection. That L-shaped seating. It's a fairly deep freeboard, it looks like. That gunnel height is fairly good. Some nice stitching. Yeah, that's not bad. Nice. I like those transom seats. So that's the type of boat that you're going to be hanging on the back a ton. Spot for a trolling motor mount. Huh. Okay, that's I thought that was the stern, but that's a trolling motor power. Yeah, that's nice. It's a decent looking boat. Question about radios. What VHF do you feel is the best bang for the buck? I've got the standard Horizon. Let me go grab it because I forget the number. I think I've got it right over here. thought I had it right there. All right. I'm not sure where my... Oh, I know where my radio went. What I do have is this great prop. This is, you can see it's a little dinged up. That is, that's what happens when you get caught up in the rocks. Not good. All right. Somehow my VHF radio has gone. I want to say it was like a 80, 800, 830. Let me see if I can find it. That's really kind of driving me crazy. There's a good chance it fell behind my desk. That may be what happened to it, but let me see if I can. Horizon radio. Definitely get a floatable one. If you're getting a handheld, if you're getting the, let me go big so you can see this, but HX890. Why is that not wanting to go there? $890. What I like about it, 211, is it has it's $160. I think I paid $200 for it. There might be a newer version of it. I think mine's a couple years old, but it's got the, if you can, that didn't really make it much bigger, did it? It's floatable. So if you do get in a shit situation, there's a wrist strap, you can strap it to you, but it's also floatable if it happens to get away from you. But what it gives you your GPS coordinates. They're always there when you set the screen up that way. So if you ever do need to call for CTOW or Towboat US or call a distress signal, you've got your GPS coordinates right there. I really like that about it. It's also got the AIS, so you can register an MMI number. I'm not getting that right. something. Why am I missing this? MMIS number. It stands for something long, but essentially what it is a telephone number that attaches to you and your vessel. So you hit that red button on there, and you hold it down. It's a little, I don't know if they show it. There's a little tab that you lift up and you hit the distress signal, right? And that distress signal is going to send out your GPS coordinates and the description of your vessel that you register. So you have to register this right when you get the radio. It's free to do. You can do it with who is it? Boat US, I think, is who I registered mine with. But there's a couple places that you can do it for free. There's a couple places that will charge you for it if you don't find the free ones. Watch my VHF video, and VHF radio. Let's see if it'll pull up here. So is your VHF radio connected? MMSI number. Yeah. Maritime Mobile Service Identity number for pleasure boaters. So if you watch that video, this one right here, it'll walk you through how to do it and set that up. And now you're set up directly to Coast Guard, anybody that's monitoring the emergency channels, that will blast out to them, and it just with the push of a button, you got it. So if all hell breaks loose and you're in that situation where you need it, flip that little lever up so you don't actually hit it, press that button and hold it for a couple seconds, and boom, it automatically blasts everything out if you don't have time to call for a distress call, a mayday call on 16. So That's the one I have, the HX890 handheld VHF. Now, if you are going with a permanent mount radio, which you might as well, because you've got the setup with, probably you have a box up over your center console that you can mount it there for electronics. But the big thing there is to have all of the wiring done properly with good heavy duty wires, good connections, and a quality antenna. Because the way VHF works is it's line of sight, right? So the taller your antenna and the better quality your antenna, the further your signal is going to go. So on Lake Cumberland, where you've got some twists and turns, and it's not just, you're 7 miles offshore where it's got to do is get over the waves. You'll want that as tall as you can to get the best reach. There's some antennas that will be receiving antennas that will just be high up in the air to receive best as possible as well. Because if you think about that radio wave, it's going out like this from the antenna, and the higher point that it's going out from, the further distance it's going to carry, the more likely one of the Coast Guard regional antennas, maybe that's not what they call it, but the Coast Guard has antennas all over the country. And other emergency services will have those as well. So that's what I would look at, is if you're installing it yourself, make sure that you're using good quality coax, make sure that you're using good quality connections, and make sure that you get a tall antenna. So you'll either get a 4 foot or 8 foot on I think yours is a 240 something Commander. You can probably get an 8 foot and be okay. And then again, it'll be on a little ratchet tightener, so you can lay it back when you need to. But when you're out and you're going to make a call, or just anytime you go out, you put it up. Just be aware if you have any bridges that you're going under, if you're pulling into a slip that's covered, you'll need to lay that back down. But if you're in an emergency situation, and it's, at a 45-degree angle, know that you're not getting the distance of transmission as if you had it straight up and down at a 90, if that makes sense. So I think the standard Horizon Ion, ICOM. I'm sorry. I was like, Ion. Why am I mixing that? ICOM is the other brand that is. I would say you can't go wrong with one of those two, and just get the most modern one that you have. So you've got that AIS. That was maybe 7 years ago or so that they started putting that on most of them. The GPS has become pretty common on most of them, but I like how the standard Horizon, I like how it displays on there. What are your new thoughts on the new Cobalt surf boat with the reverse Bravo drive? So they've been doing Cobalt surf boats. They've been doing the surf boats for a number of years, because Volvo Penta's had their surf drives since 2017. When did Volvo come with facing drives? "2015, amazing forward drive." Yeah, so 2015 is when they came out with that. And the sole reason they did that, they thought it was more efficient, but really why they did it is because people wanted to surf behind stern drives. Well, stern drive builders didn't want to switch to inboards, so they wanted to have something that they could surf behind and advertise it as a surf boat, and not take on the liability of somebody, shooting up and potentially hitting that prop. And that would be a very expensive lawsuit. So they in 2015 they came out with it. I don't know when Cobalt's first surf boat came out, but I know it's been 2017, 18 at least. Cobalt surf boat 2000, let's say 16. 2016 they had a surf. Wonder if they did in 15. Google makes me seem a lot smarter than I am. It's this is what I do when somebody asks a tough question. Okay, yeah. So a 2015 Cobalt WSS, which is their surf boat. So they started building those surf boats in 2015, which is real interesting. If you look at that first version, it's not as deep. That picture doesn't make it look as deep. Maybe that's just because they've got the wide angle lens. Yeah, that these boats are now seem to be much more freeboard when they redesigned it. But they put the reverse facing drive on it, and now they call it a surf boat. It, from what I understand, is they surf really well. You know, and here's the thing: for most people that surf, they're not at the level that a good wave is going to feel much more different than a fantastic pro wave, right? So, you know, there's who did I meet at the boat show in Charlotte? Jeff something, Jeff Love. And it doesn't matter. He's a nautique surfer, and he was at the Charlotte show. There was a couple of the wake boat manufacturers have pros that use their boat, and then the dealers can hire them in to come for their boat show as another salesperson. They can say, "Hey, this guy just won Worlds, and he surfed behind an nautique," and then that guy says how great it is, how great the wave is. That guy might be able to surf a stern drive, reverse drive, and be like, "Nah, this wave's no good." But you and I, just the average surfer that's not pro level, that's not, you know, even intermediate and below, you start getting advanced, maybe you can tell, but I think it takes a really exceptional surfer to tell the difference. But I've never heard anybody with a reverse drive say, "No, the wave's not that great. I'm going to a nautique." I've heard them say they're going to the nautique for all the other surf stuff that comes with it, including the layout. You know, the reverse seats, the fast fill ballast, the touch screen with the rider settings. So you can say, all right, Matt's surfing. All right, he's goofy footed and he likes to surf port side. Touch the button, boom, all the ballast goes to the right level and all that. Most of the stern drive surf boats don't do that. What's the range on the handheld? So it's gonna depend on the line of sight, what it is. But it's about 3 miles if there's nothing in the way, because it's all about the curvature of the earth. Now, height is the key. So if you're standing on your sports or your Sea Pro, your height's not very high. If you're standing, like, you know, let's say you get up on the T-top. Now, as that height goes up, the distance increases. But let's just say you're on a distance of a handheld VHF radio. Yeah, 60 miles is like, but that's not based on that height. It's based on the height of the antenna. That's not a good answer. 1 watt. Okay, 5 miles. Those radios are I think 6 watts, but they're going to be about 3 to 5 miles. And again, on Cumberland, on Cumberland, what's going to get you before the distance does is the topography, the trees, the banks. Doesn't look like there's many mountains there, the elevation. But that's gonna reduce your distance. If you're here over on what is that, Lake Quarterbeard? Oh, Lake Cumberland is what that says. If you're over on this channel and you want to, you know, they're right here at the state park, you've got to go over all this land. And if there's anything tall in the way, that's going to really reduce the distance in your application on your lake. But that's why the permanent mount is better, because your antenna, your handheld, God, I wish I had mine. Your antenna is like maybe 5 inches, right? So I'm 6'2", and I call and I stand up on my highest point I can safely stand on the boat to to raise my height level, which is going to increase the distance traveled. But if you've got a mounted radio, you're also pulling battery power, so your wattage goes up a little bit. But the key is that your antenna goes up. So now instead of being 6'2" and talking here, maybe standing up 2 feet on a seat or a platform, now it's coming from the T-top, and now you're raising up 8 feet, 4 feet, whatever it is, from the T-top, and now you're 15 feet above the boat. And now my transmission distance is significantly higher. And then the marinas will have their VHF radio up on top of one of their dry stack buildings or their highest point, so that they can have a bigger receiving distance. And so that the height is going to make the difference. And it could even be high enough that you get over some of that topography, and that's not shortening your distance. So that it's not an exact science, but the permanent mount, because of the antenna height, is what's going to increase your distance, and the wattage is higher. But again, that's really going to matter when you are offshore and there's not topography getting in the way, buildings, trees, hills, mountains, where depending on where you're at, that's going to have a bigger impact in your situation. And then there's wattage settings as well, so you can go into the 1 watt, or you can go to the max 5 watt on the radio. You got to make sure you're on that right setting. So if you're calling locally, you're talking to your friends, or you're doing something like a radio check, you can go down to the one setting, and that's going to limit your area, so you're not standing on other people that may have a situation where they're trying to talk as well. That's just some courtesy stuff. I talk a little bit about it in the yellow one. Did you know VHF radio? 7 things you may be doing wrong. And I probably need to redo that video. That I think there's a few things I can improve on that one. But essentially, I talk about how to make a Mayday call. I talk about the MMSI number, and I talk about courtesy, etiquette on the radio, stuff like that. It's a good video to watch. And but like I said, I probably should redo that one a little bit. All right, we're coming up on 40 minutes here. If anybody's got questions, throw them out there. Brandon, we're getting a 05 Sun Tracker, nothing fancy, but my little ones have a blast on the small lakes here in Indiana. Hey, Brandon, that is perfect. Get the boat that makes sense for you and your family. Brian from West Virginia, I didn't see him on here in the comments, but he's a common live viewer. He's up in West Virginia, and his family just got I want to say it was a 22 Sun Tracker. He's got his grandson, and they've had a ball. Last summer, they had an absolute blast, and he was super happy with it. Take good care of it. Know that 05, it's 8-9 years old. Just take good care of it. Keep it clean. Keep it dry. And if you see something that's kind of breaking, hey, address it right away. Don't let it become a major problem, and you'll go out there and have just as much fun as anybody that's on a newer, bigger, more expensive pontoon, and enjoy it for how you want to use it. Enjoy it for your budget, but getting out on the water. I grew up. Listen, my family's first boat was a 16-foot Larson Tri-Hull, 85 Mercury outboard. If I could probably find a picture of it, because I had Let's see if I can find this. I don't know if I've ever showed this boat on the live before. There we go. You guys wouldn't believe how many boating pictures I have on my computer here. Crap, I'm not going to be able to find it in any reasonable amount of time. But anyway, our first boat, my dad bought it used. It was maybe $2,000. I don't even think it was that much. And boat, motor, trailer, and we had a blast. It's what got us hooked on boating, and that fit our budget. And as our family grew, as our boating style changed, we adjusted styles. But to this day, our family's never been without a boat. And I was 5 years old when we got that boat, and I'm almost 50 now. So it will start something that will be your family thing, and the memories you'll make. It won't matter what kind of boat you're on. You'll be having a ball. So congratulations on that. And have a great summer. If you haven't got the best boat captain, if you haven't operated a boat much, grab that best boat captain on the water, the pontoon version. And also, if you don't want to start with that, since you're just getting it, get the Boater Boot Camp. That's totally free. It'll kind of open your eyes to different things that you don't know about boating: maintenance, safety, some operational stuff, emergency stuff. Just these are all the things that I wish every boater knew. When I put it together, I was just kind of going through, what does every boater need to know so that they don't make an expensive and embarrassing or a potentially dangerous mistake. And so pick that up, Brandon, and I think you'll get a lot of value out of that boot camp. And if you struggle with handling the boat, docking the boat, that kind of thing, check out the pontoon captain. New engine is ready to be dropped in my Cuddy. Hopefully this one got better than the old. Well, that's awesome. Let us know how it goes and how long it took you. That is something that is a pretty cool project. Once I take delivery, I'll send a couple pictures, maybe a video of it in action. I would love to see it. I've never been on Cumberland either, so I would love to see the lake. I've got I got several friends that went to UK, grew up in the Lexington area, and one of my buddies, his parents had a houseboat on Cumberland, and he talked about how much fun they had and how great it was out there. So would love to see that. William says, did you get a chance to check out the new Barletta at the boat show? $10K cheaper. Yes, I did. So here's the thing on the Barletta. It is still very, very, very high quality. Here's what you'll notice when you look at it. Here's the differences that you will see. Let me see if I can pull it up. Barletta Cabria verse. And I talked to the Barletta rep, Scott, who was at the show, and I talked to Rock Outdoors, the dealer, who is out of Lexington, South Carolina. Lexington, North Carolina. I don't remember. But they were at the show, and two super, super nice sales guys. Steve and Scott, I think was his name too. But they were super nice guys. I really enjoyed my conversation with them, and they were sharing the breakdown between them, and that's not what I want. I want to try to get pictures of them, because I think it'll be easier to explain what I found looking at pictures. So I was impressed with the quality. We'll start there. And yet you could see how it was different, right? So the quality was certainly there, but you could see where they scaled down versus the Cabrio. So if we look at the images, one of the first things you'll see is it's scaled down. All right. You can kind of see the upholstery is still nice, heavy duty upholstery, but you don't have the extra stitching. Let me go bigger on this so you can see it. I don't know if there's a good helm shot. Come on, give me a helm shot here, people. Well, they don't want me to do this, I guess. All right. So if you look, this helm, it's real basic. It's a fiberglass molded helm. It doesn't have the raised helm like the others do. It's just the seats on the seat is mounted to the floor, and there's no rise up. Okay, so there's on all the other models they've got 3-inch raised helm platform so that you can see over the person in front of you. If you look at, and this is something, this isn't just Barletta's way they did it. This is how every manufacturer does it from their premium to their lower level. So if you start seeing things like this, you can know, oh, this is probably their scaled down version, like Bennington's S model, Harris's Cruise model. All of those use similar strategies to keep the price down. Basic helm, you've got 2 analog gauges, you've got a little Simrad, or maybe that's a Humminbird gauge right there, but real basic, right? Take away the raised helm, that takes away $500, $1,000. The armrest, no armrest on these lounge chairs right here. If you can see that, if you look here, you can see it's wider. That's not really a great shot. Let's see if there's a better shot of the bow area. They really don't have great photos on this one. But these chairs, are these loungers up in the bow, have armrests on them. On the Aria, no armrest. Again, save $100 per seat. 1, 2, 3, 4 on a quad lounge. You save another $400. We already dropped it almost $1,000. You do that with 10 different things, and now you've got a $10,000 price difference. So if you look at everything about it, you don't have as much stitching, on there's not as much detail on it. Another $500. If we look at, the cutouts, pretty simple. The contour there, it's less detailed and intricate on the way they did the cup holders, and there's fewer of them. If you look at the structure of the boat, these two are built the same, but the Lusso and the Corsa have, instead of they've got I-beam construction, which is better. Everybody else uses a C channel or a Z channel, but they're using I-beam construction, which is sturdier. On the higher levels, they use a double I-beam construction, which is even more sturdy, right? So you've got more material, more expensive, but it gives you a more solid and sturdy ride. But the I-beam construction is still, in my opinion, still superior to the C channel or the Z channel that the other manufacturers use, depending on who it is. So that's another, that might save $1,000 per boat. So now we're at a couple thousand difference. If you look at, they still have, they still have the power bimini, so that's still standard on it. If you look at the fencing, the fence rails, they changed it, but you don't have as much detail on the fence rail. You can see there's just this one rail that's running down. See this one, it's got that accent rail, right? It's got that accent rail. All of that adds more expense to the boat. So it's really, they're taking away cosmetic things, they're taking away aesthetics, and they took away, a little bit of the construction by using just single I-beam versus the double I-beam construction, if that makes sense. It's like instead of an I, it's a cross and then the down, cross and then the end of it. Those were the main things. And then this picture isn't going to show it real well, but if you look at the depth of the seat, okay, so when you sit, this section, I'm going to go bigger on this because I'm going to stop comparing, but this is not as wide as the other models. If you were to sit there, it came up to, halfway down my thigh. When I saw the other ones, that goes maybe 3/4 down my thigh. It's narrower, so you have less material. They also, their seat boxes, their Rotocast seat boxes, same material, but they're not covered. On the other models, they'll upholster them. They'll finish them off. Again, it's a aesthetic thing, but saves probably another $500 in material. And all of those things, and $500 from the seats, now you're to $3,000-$4,000 just with some basics. It's just several of those things. If you look at the finishing pieces, you can see right here under the helm, it's a less expensive helm. If you see this kind of black finishing piece on there, that is just a plastic piece that's screwed in. That's okay. It looks fine, but it doesn't look as nice as the way they finish off their other models. Okay. So every time you see little things like that, even taking a tape measure or sitting and seeing where it meets you, where the contours are, how it fits your body, that's gonna share the differences. But I thought it was well done. I still think of the premium brands that have a value model, it's the better of them. But if you were to compare this to a Bennington Q, the Q wins. Even a Bennington R, the R would probably still win. If you compared it to a Harris Grand Mariner or a Harris Crown, maybe probably the Grand Mariner or the Crown, maybe not the Sunliner. That's where the construction quality may come in, but it's probably just a step below that. So that's what you want to look at when you compare them. But overall, I was impressed. Matter of fact, I did a review for, and I don't think it was you that stopped by, but yes, Brandon, I'll come back to your question, but as I'm talking about this, I saw Williams come back in. Only difference is the Cabrio is that it's shorter, above neck material are different, cheaper. Structurally, they are the same. Yes, the Aria and the Cabrio are identical from the decking down. Okay, it's those two models versus the Lusso and the Corsa that have the double I-beam construction. So I don't know if I explained that properly, but those two have the lower, just the regular I-beam construction. The higher end, the Lusso and the Corsa, have the double I-beam construction, just a little bit more stout, a little bit more sturdy. Yes, and it's the above deck features that are, like I pointed out, that are less expensive. So hopefully, yes, the interior furniture. Yeah, I noticed that as well. It looks very similar. The pattern is, I mean, it's nearly identical to what Harris does. And when you look at the seats, the Rotomold bases, it was, if you look at the bow of the boat and you didn't see the brand, you could easily say, oh, that's a Cruise. I think that if you feel the material, I think the material might be another 2 mils thicker, but it's minor. It's not significant. So yeah, that was one of the first thoughts when I looked at it, I was like, oh yeah, this is like the Cruise. Okay, I got to head out early tonight. Remember, life truly is better on a boat. Good to see you, Bo. Good luck with the dealer. Yes, houseboat capital of the world. huge 40, 50-foot cruisers throwing wake. Yeah, he was telling me, he's like, yeah, we've got a small one in the marina. He's like, there are people with $3 million houseboats that are, nicer than any house we've ever owned as a family. But I've never been there. I've never checked that out. Wake thing thrown from ski boats, plowing water, running 17 bass boat trackers, eyes needing the bigger boat. Yes, that the level that the lakes get stirred up these days is significant. It is from the Lake of the Ozarks. We used to run that 16-foot Larson Tri-Haul. We would take it down to the lake, to the Ozarks. That's where we did our family vacation every year. My family didn't go to Disney World. We didn't go to the beach. We lived in Nebraska, so we didn't go overseas. We didn't go to the islands. We went to the Lake of the Ozarks every year for vacation, and we took that 16-footer down there. Then we moved up to the 18. Then we moved up to a 22. Then we moved to a Tri-Tune. Then back to a 26, and then another 26, another Tri-Tune, and now my brother's also got a 36 down there. And as we've grown, it's been sort of because you have to. The 16 to the 18 was, hey, listen, we need more space. Us kids are getting bigger. My dad's 6'4", my brother's 6'5", I'm 6'2". I'm a little guy in my family. And my sister's 5'7", so we were outgrowing that 16-foot boat with the family of 5, and we moved up to the 18. We kind of outgrew that as well, and going to the Ozarks, having the bigger boat made a difference. But it's amazing how the lakes are getting stirred up more and more as the surf boats, the bigger boats, the cruisers, everything's getting bigger out there, which causes everybody to go bigger, which causes it to get more stirred up, which causes everybody to go bigger, and it's a cycle. Yes, the interior furniture on the Aria looks like the Harris. I do like the construction of the top end Barletta, but I just don't like their style. Then again, keep in mind, yeah, the windshield boats. I think Crest is the first one I saw that did the windshield boat, and I'd never seen it before until the Crest dealer in our area had one out at an in-water show that I was at. And yeah, it gives you, there's times when you're on a pontoon and you're like, damn, I wish I had the windshield. It is cold out here without it. So, all right. Well, that sounds good. It looks like that's the last of our questions. Do a quick commercial. If you're looking to buy a boat, grab the Boat Buyers Toolkit, totally free, boatbuyerstoolkit.com. If you are a newer boat owner, grab the Boater Bootcamp, totally free. It's a 3-part video series, about 2 hours worth of video. I think we got another guest that would like to say hello. Oh, trying to get the dog. Same guest, different reason. My little pups have ventured in. But grab the Boater Bootcamp. It's a great program. It's totally free. Check it out. If you struggle operating your boat, docking your boat, slow water maneuvering, tight positions, the best boat captain is a great option. If you're a coastal boater, if you struggle trailering, those two are fantastic programs. Tow water sports with confidence. If you're going to put your kids on a tube or a wakeboard or skis, walk you through that. Put those knuckleheads on a tube. You can see them. You can see them right here. That's them just 2 years ago, when I put it together. And they're on the Big Mabel. They're on a wakeboard, and I talk you through what to think about, what to look for, how to do it in a safe way that's going to be easier for the kids. The kids even give some advice to your kids on hand signals, way to handle themselves in the water, and kind of rules that you'll want to implement when you're doing water sports. And then learn to ski and wakeboard. I'm excited. Hopefully when the water warms up in late April, early May, we'll get them out on the water and show you how to ski and how to wakeboard with Captain Sydney, that is on the Carolina Show Ski team, which I'm a sponsor of this year, where they do pyramids and barefooting and all these tricks, and they do show ski tournaments or competitions all around the country. And so I'm really looking forward to that. Anyway, thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. And as Bo said, remember, life truly is better on a boat. And I will catch you guys all next weekend. Take care, everybody.